been read. Mr. Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, House Bill 1387, introduced by Representative Glassheim. House Bill 1387 is a bill for an act to amend and reenact Section 57-36-32 of the North Dakota Century Code, relating to an increase in tobacco products tax rate for cigarettes and to provide an effective date. Mr. Speaker, this is a fiscal note prepared by the Office of the Tax Commissioner on January 28, 2013. Their analysis indicates that if enacted, House Bill 1387 raises cigarette tax from 44 cents to $1 per package, and this is expected to increase the revenues in the State General Fund by an estimated $59 million. Mr. Speaker, your Finance and Taxation Committee recommends do not pass on House Bill 1387 by a vote of 12 yeas, 1 nay, 1 absent, and 0 not voting. Mr. Speaker.
Representative Froseth.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the Assembly. The reading of the fiscal note told the whole story in this bill. It raises the cigarette tax from 44 cents a package to $1 a package for a package of 20 cigarettes. And it contributes another additional $59 million to the general fund. Before anyone asks, if you look at line 11 on page 1, it overstrikes the word 17 mils. There is another section in code, section 6 of this code, that levies 5 mils tax on a pack of cigarettes. And a mil is worth 1/10 of a cent. So therefore, changing the 17 to 45 mils will have a total of 50 mils of tax on a package of cigarettes, which equates to another 56 cents to bring it up to $1 a pack. The House and Finance Tax Committee gave this 12-1 with 1 absent recommendation of do not pass, and ask that you concur.
Is there any discussion? Representative Glassheim.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the Assembly. Just to start us off, let me mention that when King James I was first presented with tobacco in 1604, he became sick when he smoked it and wrote that tobacco was, quote, loathsome to the eye, hateful to the nose, harmful to the brain, and dangerous to the lungs. And that was before the Surgeon General figured it out. Here are the facts backing up the request for this bill. North Dakota's current tobacco tax is 44 cents per pack. It has not been raised in 20 years. Our tax rate is 45th in the nation, far behind the average of $1.45. It is more than $1 lower than all of our surrounding states. South Dakota, hardly a high tax state, levies $1.53 a pack. Minnesota, $1.56, and Montana, $1.70. I have been deliberately careful to make sure that approving the increase recommended in 1387 will not put us at a competitive disadvantage with surrounding states. Will an increase of 56 cents a pack be effective in reducing smoking? 5 different studies of price elasticity of demand for cigarettes in the U.S. showed that a 10% increase in cigarette prices would produce a decrease in demand for cigarettes by adults from 3 to 5% in the short term. Because of the addictive properties of smoking, the long-term response to permanent price increases is estimated at double, or 6 to 10%. The increase in the total cost of a pack of cigarettes proposed in this bill will be between 11 and 14%, depending upon the current price of various brands. A legitimate question is, why should North Dakota legislators care if people choose to smoke? If individuals want to scar their lungs, ruin their teeth, increase their chances of emphysema, heart disease, and cancer, why should that matter to the North Dakota legislature? The answer is that smoking-related sicknesses cost taxpayers over $80 million a biennium in Medicaid payments in North Dakota. It also costs North Dakota health care policies over $300 million in insurance payments to doctors and hospitals each biennium. So we all have a stake in getting people to quit smoking because of both higher taxes and higher insurance premiums because of their behaviors. The purpose of this bill is not to raise money. It's to help smokers quit by giving them fiscal disincentives. However, it will raise a significant amount of money. That money should be targeted to reimburse the state and the public for costs imposed by smoking, such as reimbursing the state share of Medicaid related to smoking or assistance to hospitals for uncompensated care. One reason opponents may give to vote against this bill is that it won't stop smoking. This reason rests on the all or nothing mistake. It says if you can't do everything, don't do anything. The best evidence we have indicates the bill will cause a 3 to 5% decline in smoking overall, but a 6 to 7% decline in youth smoking. It suggests that nearly 2,000 kids who otherwise would have will not take up smoking, so that we won't have to spend needless time and money in the future to try to get them to quit. And in the long run, hundreds of early deaths will be prevented. It's not everything, but it is something. The second reason opponents have used against this bill is to label it social engineering. But everything we do here in the legislature is social engineering. Every law we pass is an attempt to influence people's behavior. To encourage adoption, we give a tax credit to those who adopt. To encourage seniors to stay in their homes, we make a homestead exemption. To encourage businesses to create jobs, we subsidize expansion loans. We allow divorce, but we make non-custodial parents pay child support to make sure children are provided for. We discourage speeding and running stop signs by imposing financial penalties. HB 1387 encourages addicted people to break their addiction by giving them financial disincentives to continue smoking. The third reason given to persuade you to vote against this bill is the threat that if you vote for it, you will be attacked in the next election for having voted to increase taxes. There are two responses. First, we are just incorporating in the price the actual cost to the state of smoking. And secondly, I think you can counter the no tax increase slogan with a truer one, that you voted to decrease deaths and increase life. As unpleasant as it is to vote to increase any tax, this is the right thing to do. This is a good bill. Let's pass it and move on.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Froseth.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members of the Assembly. I hesitate to get into a debate with Representative Glassheim. He speaks well eloquently. I think it's because he reads so much. But there are other surveys that are kind of important to this issue too. One survey that I received, I don't know if everyone in committee received it. I received it by email. Says that New York has the highest cigarette tax of $4.35 a package, and according to a nonprofit research group that receives funding from the New York Department of Health for this survey, indicated that cigarette tax burdens are basically to the low income, and it doesn't deter smoking. In North Dakota, we have fewer than 20% of our population that use tobacco products, and the majority of those people are in medium to low income people. I think you all received a copy of the Revenue News this past week or so. That shows that we collect actual collections in tobacco taxes, 2,239,000 for the month. And to date, we've collected 41,153,000 in tobacco taxes. That's about $2 million, or at $2 million a month, we'll collect another $12 million on that. That'd be $53 million. And now we're asking the taxpayers in North Dakota which are mostly the lower income taxpayers, to cough up another $59 million. And I don't think that's right. I think there's other methods that can deter their smoking habits. It's been shown in other states that raising the price probably does nothing more at this point than cause more conflict and harm to the lower income, especially to the lower income. What is the floor that we can possibly obtain? We're at 20% or less now. Will it be 15% or 17%? Whatever. If we can lower the smoking numbers to another 2 or 3%, I don't think the cost of putting this cost on those people is worth it. And the state doesn't really need the money. Back in 1993, when we passed the last tobacco tax increase, I think it was 4 cents. We raised it from 40 cents to 44 cents. The state was broke. At the end of the session, we were trying to figure out a way to come up with about $2 or $3 million so we could put some money into K-12 education and leave here with a thing, I believe it was an $8 million ending balance. And we decided that the sneakiest way probably was to increase the tobacco and liquor taxes, so that's what we did. And I remember one older gentleman that got up and spoke against it. He said, I always hesitate to increase taxes on sin taxes, because he said if people quit sinning, then where are we? And that probably pertains to the same thing here. I think there are other methods to reduce the use of tobacco products, and I think we should go ahead and defeat this bill and let the Tobacco Coalition work on other provisions, or getting more information out to the public on the harms. I know they've done a good job on that, but these are the methods that I think we should continue using.
Is there further discussion? Representative Glassheim.
Thank you, Mr. Meeks. Just briefly, with the help of my Google, I just want to report that the New York smoking rate has fallen from 22% in 2002 to 14% in 2011. And the mayor of New York estimates that in the next 40 years, some 50,000 deaths will be averted. Secondly, I'm grateful to my friend for his concern about the poor, and I certainly hope it shows up in many additional bills in this session. But it is so that the poor have a relatively higher percentage of smoking. And so if we have to put a burden on them to assist them in saving their lives, I think that's worth doing. Thank you.
Further discussion. Representative Owens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to take this in another direction rather than talking about taxes and how much we save and who has to pay it and how much the cost of a pack of cigarettes is. Because I'll tell you, I'm a reformed smoker. I smoked for 35 years. And I said, you know, when this goes up to 50 cents, I'm quitting. You know, when it hits $1, I'm quitting. Well, $1.50 is only 50 cents more. So by the time it got to $5 and I'm still buying a pack of cigarettes, obviously taxing it more doesn't do a bit of good, okay? And look at the bright side, though. If we do raise the tax, we will increase one thing. It won't be our tax, but since we're not putting stamps on the bottom of the cigarette packs, we'll increase the black market.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, the House has before it for final consideration House Bill 1387. The clerk will open the key and you may record your vote. Does any member wish to change their vote? The key will be closed. Clerk will take the record. Final vote shows 19 yeas, 72 nays, 3 absent and not voting. House Bill 1387 is declared failed.